Hello, everyone. Hopefully you've been enjoying your summer. Today I wanted to talk about The Inimitable Jeeves by P.G. Wodehouse. This is a compilation book. So this one, there's 11 stories that were previously published. Apparently the first six and the last were split to make 18 chapters in the book, but that was like first edition kind of thing. And apparently now they are in 11 chapters in current publication versions. So if you haven't checked out P.G. Wodehouse, you might think that this is a different genre that I usually read, and it is. The thing is that I got into Jeeves and Wooster by way of Hugh Laurie and Stephen Fry. They were if you are unfamiliar with Hugh Laurie and Stephen Fry, you're missing out. They were a comedy duo back in the day, and they had their own show on the BBC, and they have since come to the United States. Sorry about that. I need to silence that. Anyway, they came to the United States. Hugh Laurie played Dr. House in that television show House, and Stephen Fry, he was in the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movies. He was also on Bones in a couple of episodes. I'm trying to think. He also was the host for the show QI for a number of years before it was taken over by Sandy Toksvig. Anyway, they did a television series called Jeeves and Wooster, where Hugh Laurie played Bertie Wooster, and Stephen Fry played his valet Jeeves. And I don't remember exactly when it was that I realized that I must have been when I was watching the credits, and it said based on the work of P.G. Wodehouse. So I started tracking down the books, and the books are amusing. They're well written. They're fun to read. They flow very well. It really is refreshing to read them. It's that kind of book. It really is interesting to read P.G. Wodehouse. It's resting and relaxing. There's so many books out there that make you so tense as you're reading through them. Like Stephen King, or heck, there've been some fantasy novels that I've read that, just I'm getting tenser and tenser the more I read it, either because I enjoy it, want it to keep going on, or because I hated it and was like trying to read through it as fast as I could, kind of thing. Although a lot of times if I hate the novel, I will just toss it. There are times when I'm very much different than my wife when reading goes. She feels that once she started, she has to finish, even if she doesn't like it. And I'm of the opinion that if I don't like it, forget this. I'm not going to subject myself to that. So with the Jeeves books, they're so much fun to read, but not... it's kind of hard to exactly explain. There's a sense of enjoyment as I'm reading them, but at the same time of a relaxation of just well-being even while you're reading them. It's interesting. So anyway, the original stories that are in this one, as I said, this is a collection of stories. So we have it open up where Bertie, his friend Bingo, who falls in and out of love on a dime, is in love with a waitress, and so he goes to Jeeves to find out how to make it so that he can date this girl, because Bingo feels that his uncle would disapprove of him having a romance with a waitress. There is a lot of class that goes on in in the Jeeves and Wooster books, because it's in England, and so you have kind of the upper class and the working class and all that other stuff. And so Bingo's uncle, if I remember right, is a duke, and so Bingo felt that maybe if he came to him and said, "I want to date this waitress," that his uncle would be like, "Can't have my nephew dating a waitress. You're cut off. I'm not going to give you an allowance anymore." And then we have a story where Bertie's Aunt Agatha wants him to marry a girl named Eileen Hemingway, and ropes him into coming down to where she's vacationing and meet the Hemingways, because it's Eileen Hemingway and her brother. And of course, Bertie does not want to marry this lady. Then we have Bingo again, who originally was in love with the waitress, and now he is in love with Honoria Glossop. But Bertie's Aunt Agatha wants him to marry Honoria Glossop. Then we have Sir Roderick, who is Honoria's father. He comes to lunch with Bertie because he is now engaged to Honoria, and there has been some mental instability in Bertie's family, and Bertie is supposed to make a good impression on Sir Roderick because he is a psychiatrist, and he's supposed to make sure that he comes away looking good. Then we have Cyril. Bertie ends up going to America, and his Aunt Agatha sends this friend of one of her associates. His name is Cyril Bassington. Yes, it's that ridiculous. He wants to go on the stage and become an actor, and Bertie's Aunt Agatha says, under no circumstances will you let this happen, which of course it does happen, and then a bunch of fallout comes from that. Bingo, again, he's falling in love with a woman named Charlotte Rowbottom, and she is a member of a communist group called Heralds of the Red Dawn, and he joins the group to win her over. And of course, he would, since Bingo is part of the upper class, he is seen as a part of the problem. Then we go down to a place called Twing Hall, where Bertie, Bingo, and his cousins Claude and Eustace are betting on rank. Apparently, they're betting on how long a parson's sermons are. And Bingo in this one is in love with a girl named Cynthia Wickhammersley. Purity of the Turf, Bertie, Bingo, and Jeeves are still at Twing Hall, and they have their annual village. It's called a school treat. I'm not entirely sure what you would call that here in the United States, but they're up against the bookmaker Steggles, who keeps trying to make it so that they lose money while they're trying to, bet and get and obviously make money. Bingo, another story with him. He falls in love with Mary Burgess, who is the niece of the parson, and he tries to win her over by producing the school Christmas entertainment, still at Twing. Claude and Eustace are being sent to South Africa because they, though if you don't recall, that they are Bertie's cousins. They've got expelled from Oxford, and they fall in love with a friend of Bertie's, and they refuse to leave, even though they have been under no uncertain terms were they to stay in London. They were supposed to go to South Africa. And then Bingo, once again, he falls in love with a waitress and tries to get Bertie to help him win over his uncle on this new girl. So there's a lot of bingo in this one. Once again, very enjoyable. I loved the books way more than I thought I would. As again, you may have noticed a kind of a trend in what I read. But anyway, it's very good, very enjoyable, and I'm sure that you'll have fun reading these as well. If you didn't, let me know. Let me know why. If you did read these and you enjoyed them, please feel free to share in the comments. But until next time, enjoy what you're reading. Like, share, subscribe, all that other stuff, and later.